And Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders says there's no rush to restart executions despite signing the nitrogen gas law during this year's lawmaking session. When asked about a timeline, the governor stressed the need for careful consideration, telling the Associated Press, quote, anybody rushing into a decision like that doesn't understand the severity and responsibility.
And that statement by the governor gives an indication of the controversy that awaits if and when executions resume. The move by lawmakers to join 2 other states in using nitrogen gas to carry out the death penalty has already reignited fierce arguments from both sides. THV 11's Rebecca Brown takes a closer look through the lens of an earlier execution that has many questioning the state's justice system.
The 95th General Assembly brought new laws, fiery debates, and emotional testimony. Meeting after meeting, one of the most controversial topics kept coming back. And it's one Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders recently signed into law, allowing executions by nitrogen gas.
These individuals, if they walk in our society, can take lives. And I will protect life through this method.
A horrific act of violence cannot be a horrific act of violence. It doesn't make us tough. It doesn't make us just. It just means that we too have committed a horrific act of violence.
Just last month, Louisiana carried out its first execution by nitrogen gas on Jesse Hoffman Jr. Before that, Alabama used the method on Kenneth Eugene Smith. The question at the center of the ongoing debate is this about safety, innocence, or both? Right now, there are 24 inmates on death row here in Arkansas. After 4 lethal injection executions in 2017, the state struggled to get the needed drugs to continue carrying them out. That setback eventually led state leaders to nitrogen gas. It's a method lawmakers like Democratic State Representative Tippy McCullough opposes, arguing it strangles the person by taking away their oxygen.
I think that there are lots of issues with it. I think it's somewhat experimental. Only been tested in a state or 2. I think that in history, it has been a way of exterminating people that no one has appreciated.
Senate Pro Temp Bart Hester says despite the controversy, it's a necessary step.
We have consequences. If you want to take a human life, you're going to pay for it with a human life.
Then there's the possibility of new developments in the case.
Did Arkansas put an innocent man to death? That's the question raised by newly tested DNA evidence.
April 20th marks 8 years since Ledell Lee's execution, ordered by former Governor Asa Hutchinson. Lee was convicted and sentenced to death for the 1993 murder of Deborah Reese, but in 2020, 3 years after his death, new testing concluded that his DNA was not on the wooden club or bloody shirt found at the scene. The same test also found DNA from an unknown male.
They affirmed the convictions, and it's my duty to carry out the law.
It's cases like Lee's that Democratic State Representative Nicole Clowney says she voted against the nitrogen bill.
I am not presuming to know the truth of what happened in that particular case. But what I do know is that we spent a lot of time today talking about giving people, the worst criminals of the worst, what they deserve, and presuming that those are the only people who will be impacted by this bill if it becomes law. But they won't be, because as long as humans are responsible for these decisions, we will get it wrong sometimes.
2 years later, after leaving office, Hutchinson remembers Lee's case as one of the toughest decisions of his administration. We sat down with the former governor to look back at Arkansas's most recent executions and to get his take on the new law.
And the bill that allows for nitrogen hypoxia to now be a method of execution in Arkansas. So have you followed it, and what are your thoughts on that now becoming a tool for the Department of Corrections and for Governor Sanders?
I have followed it, and I think the legislature did a good job in evaluating what methods of execution can be safely and humanely used, and does not violate the 8th Amendment. And you've seen the experience in, I believe it's 3 other states that have used.
But as Arkansans look ahead to what's coming, many say their views haven't changed.
This is not an easy decision. It never will be an easy decision. I hope it wasn't easy when they took the life of the victims that they took.
We can't fight violence with violence. And we need our judicial system to be our guardrails when our best, most loving selves are blinded by grief and trauma.
In Little Rock, Rebecca Brown, THV 11 News.
Rebecca, thank you. We have reached out to members of the Board of Corrections who didn't want to comment yet as they work out the details of the new law.